Divorce. Divorce has been increasing rapidly over the years. Parents constantly ripping themselves from each other and leaving their kids to suffer the consequences. What people often neglect is the effect divorce has on their children. Kids are the victims in those situations. Which leads me to my story of how I became the victim. My story begins in a household of a mother who was continuously crying and a father who I saw once in a blue moon. I was simply a kid back then, 9 years old to be exact. In that age, I was ignorant. I was blinded by all the toys, TV shows, and movies to realize and witness what was happening right in front of my eyes. To notice how my life was about to crumble into a million tiny pieces. On November 24th, 2005 was the day I found out the true face of reality. I came home from school as any kid would, a smile on his face, expecting to see his mother with open arms and a hot meal. However, when I came home, all I saw was a note. The note explained that my mother was being torn apart, but that she loved me beyond compare. But that didn't matter, because all I was thinking about was how I just lost my mother. I was past devastated. I couldn't eat, sleep, nor think of anything else. But regardless of that, I decided to go to school, thinking that would help me forget. But at break time, I broke down, and the tears streamed uncontrollably. My friends tried to comfort me, but they were just as young, so the effort went in vain. My father remarried, and I was okay with that. After all, he did lose a wife too. But when I turned 11, that's when life showed me how cruel it could really be. My father came to me and he told me that I was gonna go live with him. Sure, that doesn't sound too bad, but the kicker was that he lived in another country. That meant that I had to leave my mother, and I could only see her once a year. I will never forget the day just before I traveled. My mother and I sat in a room, and she kept on telling me, it's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay. But I was pretty sure she was trying to convince herself rather than convincing me. We cried, wept, and sobbed the entire night. She held me in her arms till my eyes turned red and I ran out of tears. Life was sucked right out of me. I went into a state of pure apathy. Nothing meant anything to me anymore. I lost myself. I was a million miles away from the only place I wanted to be in. The first year was dreadful. My mother and I talked through the phone, and that gave me comfort and ripped me apart at the same time. My mother remarried, and again, I was okay with that. I found my feet, and I came to the realization that this divorce and all that happened made my parents happier. In a twisted way, made me a stronger person. Life pushes you to your limits and kicks you over the edge. And after that, it stomps on you when you're on the ground. But when you reach the point where all you can go is up, that's when you see the silver lining. That's when you realize that life was just trying to make you stronger and gives you the courage to write about as well as talk about the point of view and the story of the victim. And that's my story of how I became the victim.